Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. So, Juneteenth, we get a little bit of a rest today. And then Friday, I don't know. It's always kind of like Juneteenth last year was kind of weird, but this year it's going to be really weird because you get the Friday and then the weekend again. And we got this crazy stuff with Iran still going on. Actually, the latest I've heard is that the U.S. is going to strike and take out nuclear facilities. But they won't do it until the weekend. But that's the latest from Bloomberg. Let's come over to the charts. I gotta fix my camera. We'll do that in a second. So here's the treasuries. They took quite a bit of a dive. It's interesting. They were doing pretty good in the morning going into the FOMC, but they took a pretty good dive during the press conference and everything. Not too bad though. I mean, we're still pretty close to that 111 even area, right? And the S&P 500 also not too happy about it and moving down. Oil. Should zoom out on oil. Good grief. Good. Oil drifting higher. So one thing to keep an eye on is if the U.S. does strike Iran, one of the likely responses from Iran will probably be to close off the strait there. And a really large portion of oil supply for the world comes through that strait. So that could push oil up much further. Gold and silver. Well, gold just kind of still trucking along sideways here, I'd say. Silver giving up some of its latest gains, though. And copper. Copper looks a lot like gold, right? Similar. Japanese yen dropping there. That's interesting. Maybe dropping along with the treasuries? I don't know. And then Bitcoin. Man, Bitcoin really going sideways there. So interesting set of data this morning. But again, it is an off day. I'm going to zoom everything out. I will not turn on the algorithm here because it is a holiday. So let's just put that aside. Let's come over here and deal with the camera. How about that? Maybe a little bit too much. That looks good. I was messing with the new KVM switch I got yesterday. Actually, so the funny thing is I don't, before the switch was really for switching between my work laptop and my desktop. Out of focus, but the slider thing is back in good shot. What do you mean by that? The slider thing. I don't know, but I moved the camera so that I could film the unboxing. That's why the camera's all messed up. Oh, I got you. The marquee. The news marquee. Yeah. It's, that's one of the things I've kind of been wondering. I've thought about, so I really like the 50 millimeter lens for, is it 50? Yeah, it's a 50 millimeter lens. I really like the 50 millimeter lens for full videos. Oh, it looks so much better. But for the live streams, it's really too zoomed in. I would like to see more of me. I would like to see like maybe this much, you know? So I don't know. Probably should have ironed this shirt too, by the way. It's okay. You can't tell as much when we're zoomed in. So maybe at some point I'll get a 35 millimeter in addition to my 50. And then, you know, with this lens, I could turn up the, you know, make the background more in focus, but I kind of like it this way anyways, so. Anyways, I think one of the biggest benefits I got here of the new KVM switch is that it kind of acts as a USB hub. So I can bring my Wacom tablet over here. I can move it around more freely. So we can use the tablet a lot more than we were. So I really like that. All right, well, let's do just a quick bit of browsing here. I want to see if I get anything more about... Anything more about the Iran story? Missile causes extensive damage to Israeli hospital. IDF bombs inactive Iranian reactor. Grassley probing withheld FBI records on alleged Chinese election interference. And then Trump has reportedly approved Iran attack plans but is withholding final order. Check Reddit. Something that came up on Reddit this morning. It's surprising to me the number of people out there that do not know much about Israel's nuclear program. I suppose it would not be something you would really know about unless you're a geek with nuclear weapons. You know, there's a whole group of people on YouTube, they're just absolutely obsessed with nuclear weapons and stuff. But like, all of this stuff got leaked once to the UK press. So like, we know for sure they have weapons. And I don't understand it. So it looks to me like my power tools, my power toys screen is not working correctly. So let's come in and fix the fancy zones here real quick. No, I do have it. Set. Huh. What happened to the little bit about, like, don't round the window corners? Oh, no, that's not what I want. Disable round corners when a window is snapped is turned on. Why is this screen, by the way, why does my web browser have a orange circle around it? I guess it just doesn't work for that one window. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I'm watching the DOM here. There is more volume on here than I would expect for a holiday. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, I see some of the most insane posts about the Iran thing on Reddit. There are really people that are like full on glazing Iran and or think that like we're all gonna get drafted into a war and things like that. No, probably not. Although I do think that Americans will probably die. And I'm not too sure there's really anything that can be done about that at this point. Elon Musk is literally bowing out of the AI race. Dude is bricking his AI so that it stops the woke nonsense. Is there seriously no one at XAI that can tell him, no, Elon, you can't make the AI mirror the people you associate with exact views? I can only imagine the harm such heavy biases will inflict on the model. Yeah, you know what? I think these guys are right on this one. It is a problem inherent in the medium. The artificial intelligence is going to mirror the training data, and the training data is coming from the internet. So it's going to mirror what is put out on the internet. And there's not really any way to fix the model to make it look for, only right-wing sources or something like that. So it's always going to be the case that people are going to be able to find things that Grok is wrong about, like dead wrong about. And that's probably going to really hobble their development. By the way, did you see this thing that, like, Facebook was offering engineers 100 million signing bonuses? How can they afford to give $100 million signing bonuses? That really puts a lot of things in the labor market in perspective. Like if you really have the skills on something, the skills in this instance being that you create the base models, there is no limit to how much they will pay to get you. That is insane to me. Oh no, another video shows Salt Lake City protest shooting suspect meeting peacekeeper. That thing is such a mess, guys. Brent Adcock. Humanoid robots are the ultimate deployment vector for AGI. Yeah, something that I notice in the conversations with AGI is that most people are projecting with their predictions about what is going to happen. So the people that are, a little sore that tech ended up being where most of the money is right now, and are mad at all these people making money from being software developers and stuff, they're really into the fact that AGI is going to reduce the number of software developers that we need to have. It seems to me that it is not really reducing the number of software developers that we need, but companies are reducing the number of software developers that they have anyways. Definitely seeing that happen. But I really don't think that coding is really well suited to automation like that. I think that it ends up being one of the best use cases because there's so much training data. But the LLM is not actually very well suited to doing this. So once you get into things like you have humanoid robots, now all of a sudden you get something where you can start generating the data and you can get into the use cases of things that are really, truly very automatable, like especially anything that goes on in a factory, right? So I really think that the jobs that are going to go away are going to be factory jobs. And instead, their jobs will be fixing and training the robots. Which one might think, well, so then we shouldn't build factories in the US, right? Because those jobs are going to go away. But actually, I think it makes it a really good reason to build factories in the US. It means that we can get the same kind of efficiency improvements out of our manufacturing process that we get from China, but we can do it here. Yeah, and those humanoid robots aren't very far away. Not very far away. What's this from experienced devs, new grads? Why am I not getting hired? Also new grads. I would assume you're applying with AI, so just so you know, you're flushing your chances down the toilet using AI for everything. And the guy responds, and you assumed I use AI for everything just because I made Reddit posts with AI? Well, you're correct. I let ChatGPT write my emails when contacting HR to apply for jobs, but I try to make it as natural as possible. Why would it be an issue, though? It's my CV, experience, and impression I leave during interviews, which matter not. Because you're throwing so much trash out there, nobody can sort through it all. So one of the easiest ways for companies to filter is anybody who's using AI, just immediately throw those ones out. Doesn't that also mean keywords will also just kind of get people's application thrown out to help avoid AI? No way, it's perfect. And another argument I wrote, all my individually sent so many. Yeah. So there is kind of a little bit of a conundrum there, isn't there? Because you do have to get past the AI that the companies are using. And part of the way that those work is they look for certain keywords, and if you don't hit the keywords, then you don't get through. I found that like so one of the things was like you need to go through and every application that you submit, tailor it specifically to that job and make sure that you match all of the keywords and everything. I had 2 or 3 main resumes for different types of job roles, and I did that. I'm not gonna say that like super helps or anything. It's kind of like it sucks for everyone right now, no matter what. But I think that some of these things that people were doing to get an edge, my conclusion was that they didn't really give you an edge and that they were a lot of time for nothing. Like, it's better to just have a few resumes that are really well tailored, and don't do it for every single one. Only apply to jobs that you want and that you think you're well qualified for, and spend the rest of the time leveling up your skills instead. One of the things that I did kind of realize during all of that is that most developers are not on the level that they could be. Like, there's so much study and books and so forth that you can get into, to improve your skill set that we don't get into. So ironically, they're using AI tools to pick the perfect hire, but then they get upset when people use AI to apply for the job. Yeah. People don't like learning, Seth. I always remember we are the weirdos who care about that sort. Yeah. I guess another thing I would say is that if there is anything that is going to help you in this job market, it is having an active LinkedIn. There is this propaganda out there that LinkedIn is this absolutely terrible social networking website that is completely pointless and only has blowhards on it that like to hear themselves talk. And you know, you've seen this stuff. People complain about LinkedIn. But I've always had a pretty active LinkedIn because I was on it early. I put a lot of effort into it. I found a lot of jobs on it. And then I made a lot of contacts in the quant industry from it. So when, because what's happening now is they're saying, oh, if I just go and post a job posting out there, I will literally get thousands of applications within hours. And I can't possibly go through all of those. So a lot of companies are just kind of giving up on posting things altogether. And instead they're starting to do, I mean, I think it's taken them a long time, but they're starting to do what I think they should have been doing in the first place, which is just going and finding the candidates themselves. Go on LinkedIn, search for the people, find the people that actually have what they want, and go and find them. And I think in the future it will just continue to go that way. And perhaps we will get a platform or something will get built into LinkedIn where they can kind of verify that you have certain skills a little bit better. Like you can take a test or something like that to verify that you have this skill or that skill. There might be more of that. That kind of seems to be the market we're going to. So if there's anything I can tell you that will help, it is be active on LinkedIn. Make posts, make connections on that platform, comment on things so that LinkedIn's algorithm knows that you're a real person so that it will recommend you when people are searching. Oh, that's interesting. The irony at my company is even deeper than that. Management is pushing us hard to use AI to be more efficient, but they're using AI in the hiring process to filter out people using AI in the application process. I don't know about that. To be honest, I do not know a single software engineer that does not use AI to some extent. It's not making things faster, but they're all using AI. See, the problem is not writing the code usually. But the problem is, one, dealing with the complexity of all of the requirements that you have. You're given pretty high level business level objectives or whatever, and you have to turn those all into all of the minute details that are involved in software, and that involves a lot of decisions and time and talking to people to sort all that out. And two is the problems, the situations where the tool or the software that you're using doesn't work the way that it's supposed to, and when you talk to the AIs about these, it doesn't always help. Sometimes it does if it's a common error. So I spend a lot less time dealing with trivial common errors. But then it doesn't help me on the real problems. I was watching a video here. I think I've done enough of that. Probably spent too much time on that. I want to get into... Oh, did I close the window? I guess I did. Sierra charts programming. The real problem is Jerome Powell. Well, to some extent, yes, that's true. in the labor market, the real issue is, yes, interest rates are too high for certain industries. And it happens to be that those industries are the industries that have been responsible for the majority of wealth creation in the last 10, 20 years. So until interest rates go down, labor markets probably continue to be tight. Now, I do kind of think that there's this thing where, so like, it's just with the market, right? The market will grab onto a narrative. They'll just latch onto a narrative and really run with it. That's the way that the market goes. And they can be totally dead wrong about something, right? And it will just continue to go that way until it's really definitively shown that that's wrong. And then they'll stop. And I guess you could call them bubbles. That's happening with the AI right now. Is the business people, they're being told that this works and that it's going to change everything. And so they're running with it as hard as they can. So I think that there would be a lot of companies that would be really pushing the efficiency and trying to slim down, even if it wasn't for high interest rates. But the high interest rates gives it like a super extra incentive. So you might need to see both interest rates come down and a crash in the AI market in order for the labor market to turn back into a really favorable market for employees. Eddie lives before we could borrow money so cheaply, get the project done in profit, and not touch our capital. And now it's not the same. You got to take less big jobs. Just keep waiting. Just keep waiting. I think it could be a really, really long time. Like when the market is favorable to employees, I think it might be a really, really long time. Granted, we could get a better market than this, right? I'm hoping that maybe in the second half of the year, or and it might actually be longer than that, but if we can get the tariff uncertainty behind us, because a lot of companies are holding back on needed moves because of tariff uncertainty. So, and even though it seems like we're through the brunt of that, because like tariffs are in place and so forth, we haven't really seen the full impact of that stuff yet. So some are probably still just waiting. Oh, this says that you do it from the analysis menu. Analysis, new/open custom studies file. There's not a way to make a new file. Oh, here we go. Okay, and I made a basic one. Interestingly, it immediately selected my new file. A remote build, huh? End of build. Okay. Oh, it opened it up in my default text editor. Okay, that's interesting. I think let's just, oh yeah. While I'm thinking about it. So one of the things was with my new KVM switch, I have it connected up to the old computer, and the old computer is running Linux, and the default Arch setup doesn't deal with the multiple monitors very well and everything. So I was trying to install like a GUI so that I could make a better video, and that didn't work. So I think that I need to do Pacman SYU. Let's see here. Yep. Well, that's going. New shell thing, and I think that we should mk link Sierra charts, and then C:/. ACS source. Of course not. Run as administrator. Okay. That's weird. How come it works for Ninja Trader but not for Seer Darts? So then I need to make it -J. I think I need to do it in PowerShell. Okay. Does that work? That works. Story cost basis. Now it makes a lot of files for us. All right. Except for that, you know what? I think I want it to be the big one. This code calculates a simple moving average 30 period by default. Set the region to draw the graph in. Region 0 is the main price graph region. Okay. So for us, it's going to be sc.graph region equals 0. Loop 1. I wonder what that's about. Well, it has it set on that over here too. Oh, we're still in the defaults, aren't we? Yeah. Interesting. See, this is where I say that, like, programming NCR charts is a little bit of a pain sometimes, because a lot of things, there's a lot of things that you have to do yourself that you wouldn't think you would have to do. Like here, they are getting the index of the first element. Dynamic length. Oh, it's based on the time frame of the bars. Okay. So let's just set ours up to be like their basic moving average. I'm just gonna copy some of this. Okay. So I'm just realizing that what they're doing is they're saying go back 20, or like let's say that it was a 10. Let's just say we hard coded it to be 10. 10 minus 1 because they're indexed at 0. And that will be the index of the first bar that we need to look into to get. How come it doesn't use that data start index later though? They do a moving average, close subgraph average. The way that this works is just so, I feel lame. Like they're giving like a huge, so in like your simplest example, they're giving you a huge simplification here. They're not like actually showing you to make a calculation and things like that. You just pass everything into a method. And that method is doing all the work for you. Sierra chart dot parabolic. But I want to see where it actually sets the actual value. And this function is a simple example of how to calculate the high minus the low times 10. Subgraph line sc.index equals sc.high index minus sc.low sc.index. Aha. Okay, so you could say subgraph line sc dot index equals, and then I would have to do like, you know, calculate the actual value, like iterate over them, or have some variable like, can I just do the previous? Like, would something like this work? Subgraph line sc dot index equals subgraph line sc dot index plus 1. Plus sc dot close divided by 2. That. But then we have to handle the base case, which is like if base case. I don't do that. There. It's going to be if sc.index equals 0, basically on the first bar. Let's see if we can find an example of somebody doing this. What's this one doing? If the high is less than the high of the previous bar, and the low is greater than the low of the previous bar. Okay, so if it is an inside bar. Outside bar, I see. Cool. Get chart array. Let's ask ChatGPT. Might be faster. In Sierra charts programming, how do you detect the first bar or the first bar of a session? If sc.index equals 0, I guessed correctly. Okay, cool. I don't remember here. So let's come in here. In NinjaTrader, they do this the proper way, and I at the moment can't completely remember how they do it. They like minus a bar from like the period, right? Or they keep they keep the prior sum. I see. Okay. Use a persistent variable. Oh, I see. Because this method right here, my study interface, Sierra chart study function, I guess. This doesn't necessarily get called like once per bar. This just gets called like every time the study gets called. So, and it's probably doing this, getting the value for each line every time. Eek. So it's saying, make an integer. This one right here. Something like that. What? Ooh, what's going on here? S&P 500 taking a drop. Oh, I should make sure I have the new squawk on and have it turned on. Iranian missiles targeting northern Israel. Could be that. So what CR chart is doing is it's saying just do a simple moving average, which abstracts all of the complexity of making a moving average away, and I don't like. Okay, so here's how we can set a value for a subgraph line. Cool. Here's how we can detect the first bar. That's good. But, does this get called once every bar or multiple times a bar? If I, okay, yeah, okay, I have a test. I have the test. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get this variable current sum. And then this part right here. If it's bar 0, prior sum equals 0. Else prior sum plus plus subgraph line Okay. And I might have C++ syntax like really, really wrong here. So don't make fun of me if this doesn't compile. Okay. I'm hearing on the news squawk that Iran is saying that Israel has not hit their nuclear facility. and that Israeli claims are propaganda. Is Israel claiming that they've done it? Well, I don't see that. Oh, wait. All I see is, you know, back and forth about Iranian attacks. Bushehr nuclear power plant was not hit by Israel. Are they claiming that they hit that plant? Okay. Hire some undeclared identifier. Oops, that's not what we wanted. That's what we wanted. Oh. I need to go to bed earlier tonight because that was a silly mistake. Donald Trump tweets, "The Wall Street Journal has no idea what my thoughts are concerning Iran." Okay, I missed one. Line 42. Oh, I did. Line 43. Subgraph align. Undeclared identifier. Oh, okay. I see. And some of these things, I'm like, it makes me feel like this wasn't very well designed. But some of it is like, well, maybe that's just the way that a lot of C++ is, right? Because I don't have, because while I've done a little bit of C++, I don't have a ton of C++ experience. Okay. Wow. Line 44. Really? Oh, missing the semicolon. Durr. Eh. When will this be released? I don't know. Hopefully I can get past the basics here. And I think that most of the algorithmic part of this should just sit in there pretty nicely. Right. It's about getting to the point where I can plug in my function. Line 46, conversion possible. Oh, it's just a warning. Okay. Your hater was so fascinating to see him till he was already gone. Well, I think that I don't know. I thought that had maybe been there for a while. I don't know, but it must. That one makes me think it's somebody it was different because they were just like, oh, you're not smart. Okay, well, you're really showing your intelligence. I just. So, I do not. I remember getting rid of all of these. Maybe not. MES, that's probably the one we want. Or maybe that one. So what's the difference between these? 1 minute, 1 minute. I think they are essentially the same, except for that this one has a little control here on the side. Okay. So on this one, let's see, here we go. Analysis studies, right? And does my study show up in this list? I do not see it. Inventory. What do I have to do? Add custom study. Okay. Oh, okay. This right here. Graph region 1. Okay. Okay. Well, it creates a subgraph, but it is not showing me my values. On this one, this simple arithmetic example, it does not set graph region equals 1. This bit right here, I don't think I need. Why on this one do they put the auto loop at the end? Does it matter? That's not what I wanted to go into. Build. Okay. Maybe I can just put this over here somewhere. Hmm. Trump is complaining about Powell. Oh, I didn't even realize it was 8 o'clock, dude. Thanks for reminding me, Paul. It's okay, we're good. If I had left any later, then I would maybe be in trouble. Okay, well, I should get going then. I will see you guys tomorrow. Maybe I can continue this. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.